Namandaps, Namandaps. From the collected works of Shinran, a record in Lament of Divergences, Chapter 7, Shinran is quoted. As for me, Shinran, I have never said the Nembutsu even once for the repose of my departed father and mother. For all sentient beings, without exception, have been our parents and brothers and sisters in the course of countless lives in many states of existence. On attaining Buddhahood after the present life, we can save every one of them. Were saying the Nembutsu indeed a good act in which I strove through my own powers, then I might direct the merit thus gained toward saving my father and mother. But this is not the case. If, however, simply abandoning self-power, we quickly attain enlightenment in the Pure Land, we will be able to save by means of transcendent powers, first those with whom we have close karmic relations, whatever karmic suffering they may have, and sunk into the 6 realms through the 4 modes of birth. Thus were his words. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. For me, this passage kind of expresses how I appreciate this kind of popular expression. We're all in this together. And this sense of being all in this together is another way of describing the idea of oneness, that we are part of an immeasurable, universal life. No one exists alone. And this is the essential truth, or we say Dharma, of life that Shakyamuni woke up to and shared with others, that helped them to be able to free and, we would say, manifest this way of living. And this is the heart, for me, of the Nembutsu. To accept and appreciate that we're all in this together, that I cannot exist alone. I am absolutely dependent from the moment of my birth through the course of my mortal existence. And this, in a way, is how I see sheltering in place as an opportunity for spiritual awareness, awakening to this truth of so many things that ordinarily we may take for granted. We may not appreciate how all of these things are constantly having to be working together in order for anything to occur. And this is the truth. It's not a belief, it's not a concept. It's the sense of what it is to be alive with that awareness. And that's the sense of being in this together, this being our finite mortal existence. And so the circumstances of COVID-19 have thrust us into this, as we say, unprecedented situation. But the fact is, it's not unprecedented because we were absolutely dependent upon all the things around us, even before that. But it's kind of, in a sense, restricting our movement so that sheltering in place can be seen as the opportunity to become more self-reflective, or we say mindful of the truth, which is what the whole idea of the rituals and ceremonies that we follow and observe in our Buddhist tradition were dedicated to providing us that opportunity for awakening, sensing and realizing, making real this feeling that yes, I am living this finite existence, but it is due to the innumerable causes and conditions that have come in together from which I have appeared. So that's where I always like to use that metaphor of the ocean and the waves. So we appear on the surface of life, so to speak, in the form of a wave. And just as the wave, it's never stagnant, it's never static, it's constantly moving from one moment to the next. It never stops, it continues to flow. And that's the current of life, or the energy of life that we could, and I feel, refer to as Amida. That energy, the other power, so to speak, that is pulsating and giving us a sense of life. It's the heartbeat of life that we hear in the sound in our tradition, Namo Amida Butsu. So hearing the Dharma isn't to be obliged to accept some kind of a dogma, some basic concepts about beliefs. But hearing the Dharma is to hear the call of Namo Amida Butsu, the call of great compassion to wake up, to be able to appreciate the truth, the reality that no one lives alone, and we have, since, as Shinran wrote, for all sentient beings, without exception, have been our parents and brothers and sisters in the course of countless lives in many states of existence. And that's the cycle, that's the current that has continued to move through time and space, from which we appear as momentary little ripples or waves, to feel and realize that basic connection, the sense of being together in oneness. And in some respects, people have thought perhaps this COVID-19 situation gives us a sense of the truth of we're all in this together, in the extent of how we're experiencing what they call a global pandemic. You know, this invisible to our regular eyesight, virus. But virus is another form of life. And sure, from a human perspective, it becomes a problem because it raises a certain threat, gives us a sense of vulnerability, and with that anxiety, fear. And as has been pointed out, fear is the essential inability to accept the fact that we do not exist in little vacuums. We are not little entities unto ourselves. So yeah, you might call it the survival instinct, or as Robert Wright refers to it, describes in terms of the evolutionary psychology that we're kind of programmed with to procreate as our basic agenda. No purpose other than just to continue to exist in our particular form, just like viruses. And that's why some scientists have pointed out, we just got to figure out how to live with it, to live in harmony with that truth, that reality, that all beings are constantly taking different forms and interacting. And so this is how I see being in this together. And we would add from our Shin perspective, in gratitude. So, okay, here we go. A recent acronym. Okay. So, mahalo. And I think many of you are familiar with this term who've gone to Hawaii, because, we're taught that this is the Hawaiian expression for thank you, mahalo. And so the acronym MAHALO for me is mindfully aware how appreciation links oneness. So the attitude and spirit of gratitude, which I think that's our focus in a Shin Buddhist perspective of life. Gratitude, more than faith, is my way of appreciating the life that we're living in this together, in oneness, or as the gesture offers in Gassho. So joining our palms in front of our hearts, and if the occasion offers, encircled by the onenju, all symbols of this essential truth, reality of oneness, which led Shinran to declare, as for me, Shinran, I have never said the Nembutsu even once for the repose of my departed father and mother. For all sentient beings, without exception, have been our parents and brothers and sisters in the course of the countless lives in many states of existence. On attaining Buddhahood after this present life, we can save every one of them. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Mahalo.